to do in 2026. And if you ask me how much I've decided, how much I've done by now, I'll tell you just a very small amount of it. And hey, we have to wait and see how the balance of the work. I have to go into double time and overtime. I don't know. Some people feel that when you retire, you have more time in the world. But I've retired since the 10th of December last year. But to me, I've got more things to do now that I'm retiring. And I don't know. But anyway, it's another day, a beautiful day in Bastia, St. Kitts, a beautiful day in Sandy Point as well. At least the entire St. Kitts on the western part. And we have, like Bob Marley say, a lot of things to talk about. We're having some guests in at about 8:15 or thereabout. They are going to be talking about an element of health and how, not health as in the Ministry of Health. This is a relatively new department from my understanding. And there's a beautiful young lady and a gentleman who's going to be coming in. And I haven't even really put a topic on the floor as yet. And good morning, caller. Welcome to Winn FM 98.9.
Can rising to you, Troy. Troy,
You're hearing me? Hello?
are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly, but it sounds like you cannot hear me. Could I ask you to hang up on call again, please, sir? If you're hearing me? Could you
I'm
ask?
hearing you, Troy. I'm hearing you now. Am I on air?
Yes, you're live and lively on air.
Okay, Troy. There's a delay, so I don't know from whose end.
Okay, that's always the case. So what you'll have to do is turn on your radio or PC or whatever it is and listen to me
I'm,
through the
I'm
phone.
not. I'm not by the radio, Troy.
Oh, okay, we mentioned the delay. Okay, I'm not too certain what is up, but let us continue and I'll try to figure it out as we go on.
Okay. Quickly, Troy. Now, yesterday I was trying to make a point pertaining to what the doctor was saying about the sun and skin cancer and all that. But let me ask you this question, Troy. Now that you're retired, have you ever, in your own conscious mind, thought about sunbathing? Have you ever done that?
I've done it several times.
Okay. Did you put on sunscreen on your skin when you sunbathe?
No, I didn't.
Okay, try. Now listen to this. I was in California and I went over to the Bay Area, a place called Fisherman's Wharf, and I saw a whole bunch of Americans was on the lawn and they were sunbathing. The point I was trying to make yesterday was this, Troy. We absorb energy from the sun. Now, I agree with the doc about science and facts and all of that, but we have science, we have evolution, and we have alignment, Troy. Alignment is something that we don't pontificate on. Alignment. What do I mean? Alignment with the elements. The earth is alive beneath our feet, Troy, and so many of us are unaware of this. But you see, these are things that was hidden from us, the masses, so to speak. And the system that we are in, the system that is controlling us, they hid these things from us deliberately. Now, this thing about cancer, the sun giving us cancer, try how long will you sit in the sun? You're not going to sit in the sun for an hour and a half or 2 hours. You sit in the sun with your consciousness, your thoughts, and you know that you are getting energized from the sun, then surely you're not going to sit in the sun because, you know, you can get dehydrated, your skin can get dry and all of that. But if you are aligned, Troy, your body is alkaline, you're not going to get burned by the sun. You observe the sun. So there's a lot of things that we are not ready for. But Troy, when you become aware of your awareness, then you cannot unknow what you know. Let me repeat this. When you are aware of your awareness, you cannot unknow what you know. And knowing try is there's no finality to knowing. It's an ongoing process. You're learning as you go.
Correct,
You
caller.
see, yes, they're going to finish now to try. There's a
Thank
lot of
you.
things that we need to start to have discussion about because we are being, the system is feeding on our energy. I mean, look at what you just said. You retire, but now you find yourself doing so much things now that you're in retirement. Because you see, the universe is calling for change. The universe is calling for the people to wake up and come out of this illusion. It's an illusion that we are in, Troy. But Troy, I am speaking to me, us as Africans, because Troy, make no mistake, you and I are speaking English. It's not the linguistic of our ancestors, Troy, who were before us. And we are under a spell because words are power. Words is power. And we are speaking a language that was imposed on us. And they claim it is this is not a universal language. It's a spell casting language, Troy. But anyway, I'll pause and let you bring on your guest, and if the time permits, I'll try and get back in later, Troy. But we need to wake up, yeah?
Before you run away, caller,
Yeah.
a few things you said, of course, I am not in total agreement with. I like the part about your way of your awareness. You're sounding extremely poetic there. And I enjoy that. I believe in poetry and that sort of stuff. But I'm a cricket umpire. I have been umpiring since 1984. And I've stood in the sun from like 9 o'clock in the morning in some instances to 6 p.m. in the evening with an hour break between there. If you're familiar with cricket, there's a 40-minute period for lunch and 20 minutes for tea. That is 60 minutes, sorry. So out of those 8 hours, 9 hours, I would have been in the sun 7 hours, 8 hours, so to speak. So, and this is 1984. I've been doing this for like 44 years. Wow, so old I am, boy. And, well, of course, we have been using long sleeves initially, but now it's a short sleeve thing. But in terms of the sun and vitamin D, since I've been going to school, I've been hearing vitamin D is good for you and you get that from the sun. Like anything else in life, too much of anything is good for nothing. That's something I always heard my mother and my grandmother said. Too much of anything is good for nothing. And water is good for us, but too much water is bad. And from what I gather, yes, we need the sun, and too much of the sunlight is bad. If you look at the Caucasians, when they're in the sun for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever, you see them start to get suntan or sunburned. They're tanned, but there's a point where they're sunburned, where the skin starts to peel. And persons, cricketers, you find that they play. When they go to play, they put on,
Right.
yes, that's sun shield.
Uh-huh.
And
But Troy, sorry. It is much deeper than they getting burned, and the skin peeling. It is much deeper than this. But I'm listening. I'm waiting for you to come to the point of as to why you're saying that you were in the sun for 9 hours. What happened? How you felt?
back then when I started in 1984, obviously it was new to me. It was a challenge. Well, initially I wasn't in the sun that period. In St. Kitts, we played cricket from 1 o'clock on Saturday to 6 o'clock. That's in the sun. And then on Sunday, we would have gone back from 11 o'clock and play until 6 o'clock. And when I said those 8 hours, when there's Leeward Island cricket, like Antigua playing Nevis or St. Kitts playing St. Martin, matches started at 10, some cases at 9, and go until 5 or 6. So it is a case where, and you have water break. So though you're out there for 5 minutes for the water break, you're in the sun. And we would have been wearing coats.
I'm not getting from you what I want, what I'm eager to hear. But
my apology. But we'll have to wrap up, call it 30 seconds because the guests are here already.
All right. When I get back in, if I do, we'll delve into it more.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for calling, sir.
All right.
All right, have a good day. And we have some guests. They are with us, and we're going to take a break now, and we're going to be back with them live and lively. and they're going to be with us for at least 45 minutes, perhaps an hour. And they've got, according to Brother Bob Marley, they've got so much things to say, and Winn FM is here to bring the information to you. So stick and stay, don't go away, and we will be right back after we go downtown and big up our sponsors.
98.9. 98.9. Winn FM.
Here are your Horse's Value Match IGA Blue Tag Specials.
Running April 2nd to April 15th.
Post family size honey bunches of oats and pebble cereals, $19.99. Quaker oats, regular and quick, $19.99. Essential everyday chunk and shredded cheeses, just $7.99. Blue Bunny ice cream, $25.99. IGA or essential everyday frozen waffles, $19.99. Arm & Hammer liquid detergent, just $39.99.
And now our value deals. IGA Essential Everyday Mac and Cheese, $2.99. IGA Essential Everyday Canned Tuna, $3.49. Essential Everyday Breadcrumbs, $9.99. Essential Everyday Barbecue Sauce, $7.99. The Colgate Toothpaste, $6.99. The Colgate Toothbrush, medium and soft, $4.99. Shop smart, shop value mart. Tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en
Value Mart.
When power stops, your world should not. For April, the TDC Home and Building Depot's product of the month is the GD Super Multi-Purpose Solar Generator. Instant, silent, and efficient power for your home, office, or any other space. Our 600-watt generator was $2,070, now $1,182. The 1500-watt was $2,772, now $1,965. And our 3000-watt powerhouse was $6,405, now $3,960. Finish your projects, continue your business, enjoy your life. Available at the TDC Home and Building Depots on St. Kitts and Nevis and at shoptdcgroup.com.
Luxury isn't just worn, it's won. Introducing the new Precious Gem Super Ticket from Caribbean Lottery. 4 games in 1 ticket, 62 chances to win, and the chance to multiply your prize up to 20 times. Scratch to reveal diamonds, rubies, emeralds, and sapphires, with prizes up to $200,000. This isn't just a scratch ticket, it's luxury in every scratch. Grab your Precious Gem Super Ticket today at Caribbean Lottery retailers island-wide. Must be 21 or older to play. Please play responsibly.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
Unlock the secrets to a healthier you. Join Dr. Natalie Osborne every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on Winn FM 98.9 for Weekly Dose. During this 30-minute health discussion, we aim to educate and empower our listeners on the prevention of diseases, early diagnosis, and timely intervention. Don't miss out on this informative health talk where we teach you to live your best life. Weekly Dose, Tuesdays on Winn FM 98.9.
wherever you are, in whatever part of the world, good morning, good evening, good night. And it's another edition of Island Tea. And it's a beautiful day, Wednesday the 22nd. And we have our guests in studio. They'll be on in a few. But I'll engage you during that period. And what's happening? Oh, so many things happening. We start on the local scene. The Minister of Sports et al., he had a press conference yesterday, and the Commissioner of Police et al. Had a sports press conference on Monday. I'm going to go to this line. I'm going to take this caller. We're going to have you, but you cannot be too long because we have our guests and we'll be going to them any moment now. But I'll give you a chance to go ahead, caller.
I will call back. Good morning.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much for understanding. I appreciate that. Thank you for listening. And the Minister of Sports, Agriculture, Small Business, Creative Economy, that press conference was held at NEMA. Of course, Winn FM carried it live, and Winn FM was represented at the press conference by yours truly. And the media need to turn out some more. There were only 2 media houses present at that press conference. But let me take back that. Only 2 media houses asked questions of the minister and his team. There may have been more media houses, and I'm not too familiar with some persons, so I cannot say if there were more than the 2 of us. And something like these, St. Kitts and Nevis, I think this has been going on for quite a few decades, where the ministers of government, the prime minister, I don't think in too many countries they are so accessible to the media. And we have to give kudos to the prime minister and the government. When it started, I remember there was a program on Wednesday, way back when. My day was Working for You. It's now In Focus, and it was another name before. I can't remember. And what has happened since the 80s and 90s, every time there's a change of government, that program changes. Is that a good thing? I don't know. I am thinking if it remains the same, let us say Working for You is the name, for example, and irrespective of the change in government down the road, it's still working for you because you're building a brand, you're building an identity. It is like, I don't know, TDC, one of our sponsors. They're not going to change their name from TDC to something else every 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. TDC has been up for 1970 when, that's a long time, boy. Rams, similarly. So I'm wondering if the government shouldn't actually stick with the same name. Right now, it is In Focus on Wednesdays. And I don't know. I don't know how much benefit there is when, if my party wins the next election, I change the name. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go live in the studio. We have with us a handsome young man, and I'm going to go live, introduce him, and he is going to tell us who he is, what it's all about. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Island Tea here on Winn FM 98.9.
Hello, good morning to everyone and to the listening audience. A pleasant good morning. Hope everyone had a proper bit of rest last night, and we're looking forward for the day ahead. Thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward for the conversation. My name is Hans Richards. I'm a PhD candidate in public health, and I'm also the program director for the National Secretariat for Human Development and Well-being, Human Security and Well-being, and it is a branch of the Prime Minister's office.
You said candidate of some sort, and to make sure the public doesn't misconstrue what you said.
So I'm saying I'm a public health PhD candidate, all right? Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So no.
We had to get that out because sometimes we hear what we want to hear.
So I can say it one more time just for 3 times a charm. So I'm a PhD candidate for public health science, all right? And my responsibility is to research crime and violence as a public health issue, similarly to COVID-19 as a infectious disease. So far, we have been doing a great job. You know, it's been a lot of work. I've been going back and forth, touring, and being supported by a number of individuals as well. But so far, so good. While I'm here, before you come in, Mr. Mills, just allow me to extend my deepest condolences to the families of those who would have lost their loved ones by gun violence. Is, like I said, that's the epidemic I'm trying to fight, and my responsibility is not necessarily to investigate who committed a crime. No, my responsibility is to investigate what's causing it, to continue, to investigate what's causing it and find preventative methods to curb it. I mean, it's almost inevitable that it would be eradicated completely, which we would like. But the most important thing is that we find a way to curb it and continue to reduce the numbers that that we've been having. And I mean, in comparison to last year and this year, last year around this time we had 1 homicide. We would have had 2 shootings, but 1 fatal, non-fatal. But this year we realized we have 3 in a very short space of time. All right, so
3, but 4 for the year.
Yeah, in terms, I'm not. Let me be specific to the public. I'm focusing on every homicide. It doesn't matter which one it is. Okay. But the majority of the investigation that I'm doing is gun related, because that was the epidemic, and epidemic meaning that there is 10 per 100,000 population of persons affected by the crime and violence. And so, because it's an epidemic, it was important that we try and curb the epidemic, because epidemic can turn into pandemic, and by extension in a high-level forum with UNDP, United Nations Development Programs, and CARICOM, they consider it a pandemic within the Caribbean, because obviously the Caribbean is affected by crime and violence, specifically gun-related crime and violence. So I'm aware that there are 4 homicides, but as it relates to gun-related homicides, there have been 3. And like I said, in a very short space of time. And so it gives me a greater sense of pride, knowing that I could I'm responsible and have the responsibility to continue to investigate how I could continue to assist in reducing and getting less persons involved.
That's very interesting, and thanks for the clarification, homicide as opposed to gun-related, because the first one on the 2nd of January, that was a stabbing. And it's really a sad situation, and condolences again to all the families, friends, communities affected. You use the word epidemic and pandemic. We are very much familiar with the COVID-19 as a pandemic. So what really is the difference between an epidemic and a pandemic?
So an epidemic normally would affect, you could say like a state, a village, or a country, but a pandemic affects a region and by extension the world, like COVID-19. Like Ebola was affecting a number of countries, a great majority of the Western countries within Africa, and then we had chikungunya, we had Zika virus, which was affecting the Brazilian and the Latin South American countries. So that's the difference. So again, an epidemic is basically, like I said, 10 out of 100,000 population, which is the count for measuring health in population. And then once you pass that, is considered an epidemic. About 2022 and back, St. Kitts had 60-something per 100,000 population, so that's 6 times the epidemic. We were very close, because it's only in St. Kitts, even though we're 60, we still have to call it an epidemic, because it's affecting us. But like I said, because now crime and violence has begun to affect the region, the CARICOM and the Caribbean region, it is considered by the larger organizations as a pandemic within the region.
How long has your department been in operations?
Okay, so we started in 2024, but in terms of now establish an office where we could focus on the research and the prevention methods. We started about February per se, the office itself, but before we work from within the Prime Minister's office. So now we have an extension, and we are collaborating with Elevate and the police, the military. I mean, it's just a grand collaboration to try, and again, we are about prevention, not necessarily to go and find out who committed a homicide, but try and prevent homicides from occurring, if that makes sense. Through science, specifically through science.
Through science. Interesting. Where is your office located? And from the word go, how can persons contact your office?
All right, so again, let me be specific that we're not necessarily responsible for researching who was the accused from the in terms of who committed the homicide, but we're responsible again for trying to find out how we can curb and reduce the numbers that we would have had. If you recognize from 2024, let's say the last quarter in 2024 until present date, even though we would have had 3 gun-related homicides this year, in the past almost 2 years, we would have had, I think it's 10, if I'm not mistaken, 10 gun-related homicide within almost 2-year period of the program. And so the office is located at on Irish Town Bay Road in the office of Elevate. The phone number is 667-7257. Again, the number is 667-7257. All right, so that's where we're located, and that's how we can be contacted.
It's a relative new department, 2024.
2024. Yes, it was established.
In terms of staffing, could you give us an idea of your staff, please?
It's kind of difficult to break it down because it's not necessarily a staffing per se. So because it's a holistic approach, anything to do with public health has to be holistic, inclusive of the community. And so we do not necessarily have a staff. Like we have it's me as a program director and the scientists, we have the administrator, we have coordinator, we have public relations officer. It's led by the Minister Iselin Phillip, Senator Minister Iselin Phillip, but headed obviously by the Prime Minister. He doesn't necessarily lead, but he just sometimes he asks questions about how it's going, etc. But that's something he's serious about, trying to deal with the crime situation. But like I say, it's Ministry of Sports, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Social Development, Ministry of Health. Specific health also play a vital role. The epidemiologists, we have some work that we need to do. And speaking about the epidemiologists, we're doing what you call, Mr. Mills, a cost and burden research. That's basically what's the cost on the individuals within the community. So everybody, and by extension the government. So how much would it cost for one simple homicide or the number of homicides annually, and how much it would have cost over a 30-year period. All right, so it's a cost and burden research, and that entails visiting funeral homes, finding out the cost of casket, the cost of a burial, the cost of embalming, the cost of collecting a victim's body from the place of the homicide to the funeral home. And while I'm saying that, the persons at the funeral home, Jenkins Funeral Home, Mr. Jenkins, at Tranquility's funeral home, and last time we met Liamiga Funeral Home, and that's Miss Pemberton. I told her that I would make sure that I give her, because they have been very helpful to the cause and understand the importance of the research, and so they're being very cooperative. And next we go to the hospital, leading with the epidemiologist from the Ministry of Health, thanks to the CMO, who has also been very helpful. And then we will start to break down what is the real cost, and whether it's non-fatal, meaning the person did not die. You could call it fatal, which is the person would have passed away, and then you have non-fatal, fatal, meaning they would have been shot, got to the hospital, been treated, and within a few days they probably would have passed because of the injury. The damage would have, so that's a non-fatal, fatal. So we try to find out, so we aggregate those, and then we go granular. So we try to find out what is the cost of each one of those, and then we put it together and see what's the total cost for the past 30 years. It looks something like, as simple as it looks, it could take us close to $1 billion.
Wow,
no.
That's a lot.
And I'm not trying to make the public think that it's not a joke, because a simple non-fatal shooting cost that we have already the information, it's $150,000 USD about. All right, so that's what the office is about. And like I say, it's not because even here you are doing interrupting violence, because you're allowing me to speak to the public, and by extension, listening, people start to understand the severity of the situation that we are in, and that is even helping. So everybody in the community, which has been very helpful for me with my surveys. Nevis has been very cooperative. The statistician is Nevision. And so it's been a lot of, basically everybody, the department is the department is consisted of the whole community, basically.
So I'm helping to impact crime and violence.
By having me here this morning.
Who do I send my bill to? I'm doing it in my private capacity.
God will take care of the rest for you. Don't worry about it.
I didn't realize this thing was so intense.
Yeah, it is.
While you're speaking, two things jumped out at me. And we have come a very long way with homicides, because we have had 4 for the year, which is sad. 1 is too many.
Too many.
And I think last year we had 4 in all homicides.
5.
5 for the whole entire year. So 4 in 4 months is not a good average. That's averaging once a month. And as mathematicians and researchers, that would, when you extrapolate it, that would be 12 murders per year. I'm not saying that is going to be the case, but these are just the mathematical approaches.
9. Based on the correlation between last year and this year, the trend could take us up to 9. And like I said, from 2024, I think you would have missed from 2024 until recent, the first homicide, gun-related homicide, we would have had 7 from 2024 to 2026 April. And now, obviously, in April itself, we had April 5th, April 18th, and April 20th. All right, so those were the 3. Well, last year we had May, July, September, December. All right, so 4, my bad. So that was the count. All right, so and we also in science public health, everything has a model. So we had a prediction model, meaning that the likelihood of something occurring. So it's not saying that you are causing it or you could stop it, or you are saying it's basically an expectation based on research. We had what you call a low threshold of 95 days and an upper threshold of 120 days. And last year it was running almost in the right period. And then now we have to go back and revisit the trend, because we had 3 homicides in within 2 weeks period. All right, 2 weeks period.
That is, so it's really a sad thing, and we could never say it is sad enough. And as you spoke, 2 things jumped out at me. Dr. Martin, some years ago, 10, 15 years, I can't remember, he indicated that when there is a homicide, it costs the country, similar to what you're saying, a particular figure. And I'm not certain where he got that data from to come to that conclusion, but I wasn't concerned about where the data originated. I was concerned about the impact on the society, because, as an example, that might cost $25,000, $30,000, $50,000. I don't know. But as an example, like I said, there is a cost. So when you have 10 of them, let's say it's $50,000, that's $500,000 on the easy sale. And there was another blogger, for want of a better expression. He said that when one person dies, and he gave the percentage of the population, something that I've never really thought about. You just hear, 2, 4, 5 people on funeral death announcements, and tough luck, you grieve for the family. But when he presented that figure, you step back and said, whoa, that is something interesting. That is something we didn't think about. So if you have, I can't remember, I think it was less than 1%, though, maybe 0.6%, and that could be easily worked out. So I'm getting now that you're taking it to a higher level. You did mention everybody and the funeral homes, Eastern Benevolent, Black and Heart and Hand, Black and White, whatever they are. And your research would incorporate, I guess, the grave diggers and the guy who sometimes people use the doves to let them fly and all of that. And it's what you're saying is shocking. But can we do this? Can we go to a break? And we will be back in a few. I'll have to sort of catch my breath from what you have said, because I'm somewhat shaken up now that you're speaking specifics and stats. We take things for granted. And I'm thinking, wow, this is serious stuff. And there's the element when the homicides, especially youngsters, they no longer would be able to contribute to Social Security. So when somebody dies, and you're speaking gun-related, but when somebody dies, especially 20 or whatever, that discontinuation of contribution to Social Security, wow. Hans, Forgive me, is it okay to call you Hans?
Yes, sir, and it's fine, man. Don't worry about it.
I think we're going to go downtown, take a break, and we are going to be right back on more Island Tea here in a bit. So stick and stay. Don't go away. We will be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Winn FM.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hosfords.
Your space is your brand. It speaks for you. So what is it saying? From the boardroom to the bedroom, our modern decorative light fixtures offer timeless designs with visual comfort. During April, TDC is making space for new arrivals. They have discounted selected Vision Decorate wall-mounted fixtures ranging from $60 to $115 to as low as $30 to $40. Elevate every corner, transform every moment, enjoy every second. Available at the TDC Home and Building Depots on St. Kitts and Nevis and at shoptdcgroup.com.
Welcome back to Island Tea here on Winn FM 98.9. And we have with us Mr. Hans Richards. And part of the introduction, well, I'm very pro Sandy Point, I'm very pro St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm very pro West Indies. And I never really miss the opportunity to give people their credit. And I didn't mention, and I don't think he did either, that Mr. Richards, he's from SP, where the best be, Hub City, hub. And that is Sandy Point, of course. And I can't miss the opportunity to give a plug here. These are the things where we say Sandy Point, where the best be. And of course, it's not just the best of the best. It's the best of the whole spectrum, because we have the best of the worst in some instances in Sandy Point, which we are not too proud of, but we have to take the good with the bad. And we're back with your hands. And you still got me shaking up, boy, when you mention these kind of things. And so, tell us, where do you start from? Let me start this way. What caused whoever to come up with this idea that your department is necessary?
The idea came from so many persons. It was something that started actually it was in Scotland, it was in the US. my research, the main person I researched as it relates to this was a guy named, but he's still alive, Dr. Gary Slutkin. So he was in Africa dealing with the same infectious diseases, Ebola, etc. And he recognized that because of the community support within the framework of the public health approach towards dealing with Ebola and curbing the pandemic of Ebola, being being from Chicago, he recognized that Chicago was having these lot of gun-related homicide, and as an epidemic, and how he thought about how can I help my community with this issue. But what stood out with him most was that the community played such a vital role in helping them to curb the Ebola pandemic. So he went back now to the US, to Chicago specifically, and started the work. And realize, because persons, for example, he used persons what you call violence interrupters. So you needed people who persons who had Ebola would give information about what caused it, how they feel about it. So you find the root cause, and once you find the root cause, then you find solution. And also, because you have everything have a solution and everything has a barrier. So you look for the root cause, the barriers, and the solution. So what could prevent the solutions from being from functioning? So he looked at all those things. So he went back to Chicago and he applied it in a very small community, and it paid dividend. Same thing in Scotland. There were a lot of stabbings. In Scotland was famous for stabbing. In Australia, same thing, and they applied the principles, the epidemiological principles in public health, and used the public health model, and it started producing. And what we recognize that wherever that is applied, it's always going to bring success. And so when I spoke with the Prime Minister on it, they would have already started some work. But CARICOM also did what you call, they have had 2 symposium on crime and violence as a public health issue. And they went into what you call a Needham's declaration. And within that Needham declaration, there were 3 important parts. But specifically, they wanted to treat crime and violence as a public health emergency. So I just wanted to repeat that, a public health emergency. Emergency meaning you have to respond now. And from that, they started the symposium. Dr. Isben Williams was a part of it. Edinburgh, the PS for National Security. These guys were all a part of bringing the idea. And the Prime Minister, Dr. Ju himself, being a medical doctor, used that idea and ran with it, presented it, and the CARICOM and United Nations are now working towards getting the public health approach throughout the region. They started something like that in Jamaica, and in Trinidad, unfortunately, because of change of government, there was a government decide what they want. So even if you know how we are, I'm better than you, so I want to prove I could do it better than you, but not realizing that was working. And if something is working, leave it, don't change it. You understand? As I say, if something ain't change it, why? If something ain't mash up, why change it, right? So that's the reason for that demise within those 2 Caribbean countries. And so now we are applying it in St. Kitts because we have had so much success. And again, I have to reiterate, thank you very much to the community. Because even the police and the military, they cannot get success without tapping into the community. So that's when they realize that it's a community issue, and anything that is a community issue is a public health issue. All right, so we tap into the community, and the community has been very helpful. So I want to thank the community for assisting me and assisting everybody else that is a part of the approach. So that's basically in a nutshell where it came from, what it's about, and like I said, once it's applied as an infectious disease, a public health approach is applied, and the epidemiological principles are used, then more than likely you're going to get some results because it's prevention. So it's not punitive and it's not reactive. Punitive meaning punishing. And it's not reactive, wait till it happens. That's what we were doing most of the time, respectfully, because I'm also in the military as a sergeant, and we would respond to the calls, but we would not. It's difficult. One way in which we were preventing it is to do house clearing and look for illegal firearm, right? But that was only that part. We did not get to the root cause. All right, so now we're trying to get to the root cause. We have found out a lot of the root causes. But then sometimes you have outliers, meaning things happen that you're not expecting. All right, so they're sporadic, they're all over the place. And so now we're trying to find what is causing this, what is the root cause for this. And one of the things is retaliation. Because if somebody shoot you, I'm a brother, I'm a co-victim, the community's a co-victim, my uncle's a co-victim, we want retaliation. So we realize that some of these could be retaliation. How do you prevent retaliation? That I can't say no because I am researching the best way forward. So I don't want to say and then they say, hold me foot to the fire, right? Yeah. So I'm in the process. But again, the most important thing is prevention. I am not a criminologist. I'm focusing on I'm a scientist focusing on how to deal with the crime and violence. So my research, everything is based on crime and violence. How to fix it, how to prevent it, and how to keep it, as we say, how to control or contain, let me use the right terminology, contain the virus, which is crime and violence. Gun crime and violence.
Hi, Hans, this is really powerful thing. It's really raising my head, and especially when I'm thinking of the work to be done, and and you use some nice words, the involvement of the community, and we appealing to everyone to volunteer and give information, contact you, get involved. You made a point, which is a serious point. Trinidad, you said, and Tobago, it was a good program, a lot of positive things. When the government changed, it was discontinued. It's unfortunate, but I find that happens too much with governments. Your government in power, and you have certain things. I normally say you're going east, for example, on a certain project. And elections tomorrow, I win, I come in, I'm the new government. Hey, no, let us go west, the completely opposite, rather than trying to tweet and say, this is a good thing, let it stay. But it's not only governments, sometimes within the parties. If you are, for example, the Minister of Sports, and you said, we want to build this facility, and next election, I am now, though we are in the same party, I was Minister of Agriculture, but I'm now Minister of Sports, and I'm going to say, well, okay, boy, Hans, I understand what you're trying to get, but I think we need to forget about that and do this instead. So that continuity, not only between intra-parties, but inter-ministries, but inter-governments as well. I was going to say that we are going to be accepting calls, but somebody jumped me hands, and we have a caller, the first caller. Do we take the call? Yes, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T. Welcome.
Yes, good morning, Biff. Good morning to your guests. Now, I'm going to say this. Unless we start to do things the Bible way, crime, among other problems, is going to always be the result. First, what needs to be changed? People's heart need to be changed to become a godly heart. Also, government need to be implementing the biblical punishment and justice system, where the sentences are carried out swiftly, and for such thing as murder, where you have 2 or 3 witnesses, people supposed to be executed quickly and publicly for murder and other crimes, but for murder as well. And with all due respect, when government disarm their people, come down on drugs and that sort of stuff, they think that they're solving it. But actually, you are making crime worse. And coming down and disarming your people and coming down on drugs and that sort of stuff, it's actually going against the Bible way.
But Greg, can I ask you a question? You just said when the government, and maybe I misunderstood, but you just said when the government, they go out and they take the guns off the street and they fight crime, they're making it worse. Could you expound on that a little? Because I'm thinking the opposite.
Right, people normally think the opposite, but the stats shows, because in places and countries where the government allow the people more and more to own weapons, guns, for protection of themselves, for protections of their neighbor, their property, and that sort of stuff. The stats, for example, in John Lott books, more guns, less crime is one of them, and so on and so he shows statistically, and others have done it as well. It ain't just you, but other criminologists have showed it as well, that when government do allow their people to own guns, actually the crime rate decreases. And yesterday, I think I mentioned we're in Kennesaw, Georgia, at a place in Georgia named Kennesaw, where the government there, the local government there, has made it, has passed a law that you're supposed to have a gun, and if you don't have a gun, you could be charged. The crime in Kennesaw, Georgia is very, very, very low as a result, because this is the biblical way to go. So, and there are other things I could name up which are too many for here.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Basically, all in all, not doing things according to the Bible help, among other things, to increase the crime rate. Among other problems, it increases as well.
Okay, thank you very much,
I just
Greg.
wanted to say that.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much. What is your view, Hans?
Of the caller's response?
Yes, in terms of, two things. If you don't carry a gun, it's against the law. Making it law that everybody have to carry a gun. So could you imagine everybody in St. Kitts carrying a gun? Of course, there are some persons who will not want to carry a gun for whatever reason. And then the other part is when the government is taking guns off the street, they're making it worse. Well, what is your take on those two?
To be honest, what do I say? I recommend for the individual to go and first look at the Georgia issue. I think it's because it's based on geological position of the area, if I'm not mistaken. Because of what's happening, I think it's the possibility of escalation of geopolitical issues. So it's a means of protection for the area, if I'm not mistaken, because I think I saw that. In terms of St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm humbly going to disagree. Because of the size of the nation, I think if we find preventative method and what he spoke about as it relates to God, if we can obviously have more persons, witnessing about God, etc., maybe that can help, But even though we're speaking about God, we still have to face our reality. And our reality is that it's a problem, all right? And his responsibility and his help in terms of prevention is through prayer. Constant prayer, and encourage people to continue to pray over the nation. Pray for our leaders, because it's important. Regardless of how you feel about a leader, you should pray for the leaders, because they are the ones leading us, and God give them direction to govern the country that he's giving them to lead in the right direction, because they'll be held accountable. So, but we still have to live it in our reality, because if we sit back and do nothing, so you're telling me if and then you have so many persons with their own beliefs, but you still have to work with their beliefs. If maybe they don't want to pray to Jesus Christ, who I believe in, they might be praying to Allah, whoever they believe in, but they have ideas of how to deal with the crime prevention. But what do? Do we isolate them because they don't believe in Jesus and they have a way to deal with it? So I will continue to pray. I pray a lot, very much. I believe in Jesus wholeheartedly. However, I've given the ability and the talent to do what I'm doing, and so I'm doing it to the best of my ability. I pray over my nation every day, obviously, and pray that God help me to do what I'm doing, and help him to give me the wisdom, the knowledge, and understanding to help find the solutions so I could help the nation. Because it's in a bad state. It's in a bad state. We started to become accustomed to, slowly we were becoming accustomed to being safe again. And the most recent homicides make everybody very uncomfortable. And I appreciate the way we feel, meaning we have to fight back to prayer from Greg, the caller, fight back to encouraging the young people in the community, speak with them, mentor them, help them to understand that this direction, because the strain it puts on a family after a homicide is not pretty. You understand? It's not good. So as I'm speaking about this, so I'm saying to the caller, my next responsibility is to prevent. So speaking about that, we're having a what you call a summer of intervention. So let me go back into the topic. All right, sure.
Good. We lost that call, and we have this one. And yes, you can call into Winn FM 98.9. We are taking calls, and we have a caller online. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Island to Your Live.
Yeah, good morning to you and the guest there.
Good morning.
Yeah, Biff, this might be a political question, but the new program that he's calling Elevate was once upon a time called the Peace Program, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so we want to dive a little bit more in depth. And, there was a big back and forth, comparisons between the two governments and the two programs.
You there, caller? Caller, we're not hearing you. We're not hearing you, caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Island here on Winn FM 98.9.
Okay, sorry about that, Dave. I'm back. Sorry about that. I got cut off there. Okay, my first question went through, right? You got the first question, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, my second question is I wanted to get personal with you and ask you,
Sure.
do you feel an individual have the right to carry for personal and property protection?
You're asking me to respond to that question?
Yeah, if an individual have the right to carry.
Let
Let
me answer you. My course of response would be based on myself as a soldier and police, because of the danger of the job, and some persons also have been robbed in terms of their business and etc. I'm thinking that it's fair for them to protect themselves, but they're not going to go into. Before even going any further, there's a lot of trauma that's happening in the Federation. Everybody has their own trauma. And persons cannot, you have to be careful, because some persons may not be able to tolerate, as we say, hard talking, colloquially, or spoken down to every simple thing you don't know, people to respond. As a soldier and police, persons are given firearms because of their tactical unit they are part of, because of the work that they've done, the kind of entry that they make into people's homes, whatever it is, and dealing with certain groups, it is very dangerous for them afterwards. So they're given the ability and the right to carry. Persons who have their businesses also given the right to carry. Outside that, I am sure that there are a lot of psychological evaluation that would have to be carried out. For example, I work with Wendell Pemberton at WASP, and before persons are given the ability to carry firearm, then we would have someone come in and carry out an evaluation on them. And sometimes you realize that it was necessary, because persons would say, based on how I'm feeling psychologically, etc., I don't think it is the right thing for me to do to be a firearm carrier. So I'm just saying that.
So
go ahead.
I would have quickly asked you as a follow-up the process and when you have to apply, right? Is it like a pure process? Because is there any favoritism?
I'm sorry. Again, I'm not in the position. What I recommend is that maybe you speak with the authorities. I'm not in the position to give you that response. I'm just, like I said, I'm here to speak about how I can prevent, as a public health scientist, how I can prevent crime and violence from occurring. That's my main duty. All right, but what happened is because I'm in the military, I used both. Yeah. I amalgamate both positions that I was blessed with. To help to find preventative methods and measures so that we could continue to reduce the numbers. That's what my role is. Outside of that, carrying the position, who can and who can't, and who's responsible for issuing license, that I recommend that you communicate with the authorities on that. They will probably give you a better response than I can.
And let me ask you last question, and then I'll get off and let somebody
sure.
comment. When the crime drops, right, can the government in any way take claim of that? Because we see how quickly the switch could be turned on and off. And, just as well as when the crime drops, they want to take credit. And when it spikes up, they're going to be held responsible again. And I'm just going to leave it there. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Pearl. Thank you for listening and calling, and please do continue to listen. I could tell you, Hans, what I suspect is going to happen. You're going to get callers, and I'll have to redirect them, that perhaps not within your purview, but because it's gun, we get excited when we hear any discussion on gun for various reasons, and you're going to get questions, and these are genuine questions, genuine concerns, but it's just that now is not the time to deal with it. And we
Yeah,
have
but it's important that we understand that I have to continue to reiterate my role and my responsibility.
Exactly.
The ones that I could try to respond to when I have the knowledge to respond, I would respond, but I'm asking them not to hold me accountable for the response. I'm giving them the best. And if I really don't know, I would recommend and direct them in the direction of the persons who could respond. Because again, I'm about prevention, trying to prevent, not anything else. All right, so
I agree. And I'll help to protect you, so to speak. And we have another caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Island Tea on Winn FM 98.9. You're live.
Good morning to you and your guests. And,
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for explaining the origins of this crime as a public health
issue.
Mm-hmm. Because, obviously, well, we learned recently that it can be controversial in the sense that it's not something that has been adopted by everybody. I would have thought, though, that since you outlined the international aspects of it and the origins of it, the UN and so on, that they would have had a body of knowledge that gives us an idea of best practices in that approach. And so I'm wondering, for instance, what is the difference between that and the all-of-society approach that we've been echoing since way back, right? And isn't it somewhat redundant, or there's redundancy built in, duplication of effort, when, for instance, you concentrate on the statistics, which are absolutely necessary if you're going to be looking at it from a scientific point of view, but which other departments collect as well, right? How do you coordinate all of that? I mean, is it duplication of effort? And finally, I think Burl made mention of it. From time to time, we make inferences that it is not a political issue, but for some reason, we can't seem to get over bringing politics into it, okay? Depending on where we are in the continuum of whether low crime or high crime. And I don't know if you look at that as one of the hindering factors in your job, in your position, right? Just keep the politics out of it, right? Stop this taking credit for something that is happening when, in fact, the mere, whether all of society approach or crime as a public health issue means that everybody is involved in the effort, okay? I don't know how you view those pointers that I raised.
All right, thank you. Very good questions. So let me start with the statistics first. The most important thing is to get numbers that are available, because you get your numbers and they direct you into the direction in which you need to go. So I got the numbers, and then I tried to find out where the numbers came from, which is to find out the root cause, and then from the root cause, then you go and you find a way how to deal with the root cause, that's when you use the model, the public health epidemiological model. So yes, we work with, like I said in my earlier presentation, I said that it is everybody on board. It's all hands on deck. Miss Carey, who is the coordinator, always say all hands on deck. And so we went to the community, we went to churches, we went to Spanish, we went to Haitians, we went to everybody to find out what is their opinion of the root cause. And obviously the common denominator came from family and family issues. That was the common denominator in terms of from the survey that has a higher portion of the chart. All right, and so from we found out that, and you had psychosocial issues, you had peer pressure, and then you had job opportunities. From the solution, though, which was very interesting, was 22% was community, which took the larger portion of the pie. But when you add community, school, church, they took 70% of the pie, and police and law enforcement and government only had 30% of the pie. So the problem, to solve any problem, and that's why you really have to look at it as a public health issue, because it was dominated by community. So let's go back to the community. And like you say, it's holistic. It's a holistic approach, a whole of society approach. There's nothing I have done and not involve this society and the community. Having said that, I was trying to get back into the presentation so that the gentleman, the caller, could understand that it's about prevention, and we are now on the next step of the program is to go into the community, but utilizing we're going with the high school students from third farm, male and female, to CFBC. Because there was a research done by United States Aid, and the research, the survey that they did, and the survey is the mother of all research. There's no survey. That the person research it's not valid. You can't do a research without a survey and interview, some kind of numbers communication, whether it's qualitative or quantitative. The surveys must be done. All right. So they did the survey with the same age group, because what they recognize as the age group for recruitment. All right. And that's the age group where you're starting to go from one stage of your life into the next. And so having done the interview with those, we decided that within the next step, we're going back to those students, third farm, male and female, to Clarence Fitzroy Bryant. When I went and I found out the numbers, that's about 2,500 students. Now, so let me explain. The intention now is to have all those students between the I hope the caller and the callers are following me, because it could be a bit scientific. So let me try so we look at April to September, and that's the area where you call the high idle time, because it's vacation, exam, and then full-blown vacation. And so within the idle period, we realize that it's also a period where recruitment is high. Because remember, like I said, let's go back. Psychosocially, the persons are going from one stage, I think, from one stage of growth or maturity to a next stage. And so you have your mind all over. So it's a period that they use to do recruitment. So within that recruitment period, we're now trying to reduce the likelihood of recruitment. We can't win them all, but even if we win one, we win something. So the intention is to have those students, 2,500 from St. Kitts and Nevis specifically, to be involved in camps, job attachment, etc., within a 6-week period within the vacation, to try and reduce that possibility of being recruited. It don't have to be recruited for gun-related violence. It could be recruited to be a jog mule. It could be recruitment to be just a thief. It could be recruitment to whatever it is, respectfully. It could be whatever recruitment is possible. We are trying to curb that possibility within the heightened period of vacation, which is in science called idle time. All right, so we're trying to reduce the idle time and reduce them being available, for idle time. So we're trying to get them involved. So I'm making a huge call against Sarah, Carl, and the others who are listening. For all of society, we are sending emails. We would have sent some emails to a lot of businesses, a lot of manufacturers, a lot of organizations, for them to have a meeting. And while I hear, the meeting would be the 6th of May at Solid Waste at 5:30. So everyone who has businesses and organization and mentorship programs, etc., we have a meeting on the 6th of May at Solid Waste. This would be aired, and what the intention is for us to find out what you're doing 5:30 in the afternoon. So the intention is to find out what you're doing in the summer, and even if your normal job, whether you have a lab, whether you are a doctor, you have your own private practice, come on out and sit down with us. We are allowing you to speak, to find out how this program could the government could collaborate with non-governmental organization and different community organization, and so that the program could be a success. Because we are saying that the government is not doing enough, but let me go back to give you the solution in the pie, stated clearly and scientifically and through validation, that 30% of the pie belongs to the government and law enforcement, and 70% of the pie belongs to the community. That's mean the NGOs are even bigger, has a bigger piece of the pie than government. So I'm asking the NGOs and the organizations to really assist us in this. And like the gentleman said, this is nothing to do with politics. Because if you put politics in it, I mean, yes, Dr. Terence Drew is the Prime Minister, but look beyond Dr. Terence Drew, because the problem started before him. And the problem would continue after him if we as the community don't find a way to come together, forget that for one moment, and look at our future. The numbers are staggering. 700 males and females we lost in the past 30 years. And that's a fact, Mr. Mills. 700 and counting. again, 700 and counting. We would have lost from 1999 to 2026. And when I did presentations...
Sorry, 700 and counting.
And counting.
Is that overall?
Overall.
So it's not just
gun related? It's not just gun related. Yes, specifically gun related.
Specifically gun related.
Yes.
700 and something.
And that has nothing to do with non-fatal. That's just fatal.
And the non-fatal again?
The non-fatal, some of them are left incapacitated.
So that, yeah.
Inclusive of those who were arrested and tried and sentenced. So when you add all of those together, you have 700. Now we're almost about 720.
Wow.
So when I went to Washington Archibald High School, Bastille High School, and Birchers High School, I presented to the parents who were there because they were filling out some surveys for me, and I want to thank the parents and the principals from these different schools for allowing me the time in their parent-teachers meeting to have that survey done and present my case. And they were very, very helpful. So what I'm saying is when you take all the boys from those 3 schools, Mr. Mills, that's the next generation. So imagine there's no boy in those schools. So you basically have girls' schools. What is left? So when the Prime Minister said the other day that we're not creating babies, but how are we going to create babies if we don't lose 700? And we are about to lose 700 more if we don't do something about it.
Ooh, why that's...
So it's a very serious issue. So I just want the community to understand that it's nothing to do with Prime Minister Dr. Jude, Prime Minister Dr. Denzel Douglas, Prime Minister Dr. Kennedy Simmons, and Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris. It has nothing to do with them because it shows that them as a government only had 30% of the responsibility. And the 70% is us.
Up to me and you.
Up to me and you.
And the church.
And the church.
Wow.
You understand?
And I just did a little calculation here, Hans. 720 divided by assuming that, and I just use St. Kitts alone, the population of St. Kitts is 40,000 people.
40,000.
That means we lost 1.8% of our population, Hans.
And if you do it per 100,000 population, and we were the size, let's say, of a country with about 2 million, it's about 17,000 and more.
So you're telling me between
1995 thereabout to 2026.
We've lost 1.8% of the population.
Males.
Males?
Mm-hmm.
Males?
Males.
Not females.
No,
males?
because there were about 4 or 5 females in the crossfire.
But this is madness.
It's madness, yeah.
This is crazy, Hans.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean.
And that's all because we jump on the bandwagon realizing, it's Simmons started, it's Douglas, it's Timothy Harris, now it's Prime Minister Joe. So all these prime ministers, their fault. Not realizing that, no, it's our fault.
It's my fault and your fault.
Yes. Because what they can do, they give us punity, which is the police and the law and the justice system. That's punity because punishment. That's all they can do. And they're reactive. They're reacting to what is happening.
This thing got me.
But to be proactive, which now I'm trying to do, which is new to the Federation. Now, I think the former PS, what's her name? Tona Brown, spoke to me about it because she has been very, very helpful with me. She has guided me through a lot of the process. And she told me that I think under Dr. Denzel Douglas at the time, they were planning on doing something similar, but it never came out the way they expected it. It was not given the kind of time and emphasis that we're doing it now. And somebody asked about CARICOM and United Nations. Let it be known that St. Kitts model is being used via the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis model is being used as a model for CARICOM and United Nations. So let me make it clear that they're using our model, what we're doing here. And it is not what Hans Richards is doing here. Yes, I'm the lead, but it's not what I'm doing, it's what the community, because you hear me over and over emphasizing how grateful I am to the community for supporting me, because they've been very supportive. Nobody, to be honest, I've said, what Dr. Terrence, what the Prime Minister tell you got to ask me any question for. They never said that. They said, how can we get involved in preventative ways? So now we are making a very brilliant cry to the community for this prevention program that we're hoping could be a success. All right? Because me personally, I have 2 sons. And you have your sons, and everybody have their sons. Imagine we lose all of those. What are we going to have? And with population have not grown since 1960-something when the Queen last came to St. Kitts. It has not moved. And if we want to extend our country and we need to improve on our economy, the population has to go so Social Security get funding.
So that is why the Prime Minister is encouraging us.
But then where we going to get it from? Where we going to get them from?
I have to come with retirement.
Respectfully, then me and you're going to have 10 females and have 10 babies and everybody else. And that's the only how, unfortunately, that's the reality. I said unfortunate, I didn't say that's the way to go. But I'm saying, for everything to happen, we're talking about sustainable island state. We don't have, the population is not big enough and cannot stay this way for that country. We have to increase our population size for sustainability. So it is a lot of work. So what we're trying to do, like I say, is prevent the next generation from falling and by the wayside like the one before. Because of the geopolitical issues, the possibility, the likelihood is high. So we have to find a way to fight. And so how are we going to fight? By all of society approach, a holistic approach. And now we have this program coming up, which now I'm making a plea to the public to come on the 6th of May at the Solid Waste conference room for us to find out what can you offer, whether you're a mentor, whether you're a first aider, whatever you do.
Whatever contribution
you could make, come to the meeting, give your ideas. All I'm going to do is show you a bit of numbers, and the floor is open, and then we go from there. We continue to have meetings, and then we're also going to measure also within that period how successful we were, how many fights we would see on the internet, how many students between that age group would be arrested for thieving, gun-related, selling drugs, etc. How many students children around that age group would die? Those are some of the metrics we want to use to see the success of the program, and we're hoping that is at least 5 years. And I know election is close, but I'm hoping that everybody who wants to be politician is listening to me and recognizing that the program has the ability to improve the status that we are facing right now in terms of the numbers. It has the ability. It has been proven. Scotland started, and after 20 years, Scotland's still using the same program to continue to maintain and contain the virus. So I'm just asking us to really support the cause, and let's look after our children.
Hans, we have to go to a break, which is overdue. When we come back, I'll ask you now, when you'll give the response, how many other you said we are used as a model. Mm-hmm. How many other countries, one, are using us as a model, or two, have had this program in place fully? So get your thoughts.
Only St. Kitts and Nevis fully, yes, 100%.
You mentioned Trinidad.
That was there was a pilot in some areas, not necessarily full country. But if you calculate again 100,000 population to our size, we were above that pilot village and country village or town or parish that they used.
Okay, we are going to go to a break, and we are going to back Hans. This is massive super stuff. I apologize to the callers. The lines have been going mad like Christmas tree, but I need you to get out that information. So stick and stay. Don't go away. We will be right back as we head into this break.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Winn FM.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
Ready to play, match, and win? With Caribbean Numbers, you can turn your favorite numbers into big cash prizes, up to $20,000. For as low as $1, pick your numbers, play your way. Quiniela, Pale, or Tripleta, there's a game for you. Then match your numbers and win cash. It's fun and as easy as 1, 2, 3. Your numbers, your way, your time. Feel the thrill in every play, available from any Caribbean lottery agent island-wide. Must be 21 or older to play. Please play responsibly.
She said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, she said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, cause when we out and we active, living we life. So when we drink, we drinking. Root boy. So when we drink, we drinking. Root boy. Oh,
Build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
Welcome back to Island Tea here on Winn FM 98.9. Boy, Hans, you still got me getting goosebumps with that information. And before we continue, we have a caller on the line. Unfortunately, this is going to be the last caller because we have another interview that should happen at 9:30. So let us welcome this caller. Good morning. You're live on Island.
Yeah, Biff, I'm back, right? Yeah, Biff, you can hear me, man?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to talk in general, man.
And quickly, please, sir. God, this is the
okay,
last
what
call.
I wanted to say was, as the gentleman is trying to talk about the outreach, right? I believe it might be time that we maybe set up some approved mentorship programs, like to the sports clubs and whatever clubs in school and in the community. And something I may want to say differently. The Aspire program that the Prime Minister set up, right? I believe that he should put that those kids that they're dumping money into their accounts for the kids, they should make it a mandatory situation that those kids be, as a requirement, they should attend an approved, certified mentorship program. Just like what the police officer said yesterday or early this week, that an instructor, a driving instructor, got to be approved. You can't just be teaching your girlfriend how to drive. They should set up some mentorship programs like that and make them certified and approved and make those kids start attending those programs. And that age, they need to start getting at these kids at a younger age. And I'll leave it there, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, bro.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. We actually, I think the Ministry of Education working on something like that soon, that you should be, even if you graduate with just 60 subjects, that you, I think PSP Standard spoke to it in the secretariat, in the task force, that you would not receive, or you would have to have some kind of credits for mentorship and voluntary work. I think they want to add those to the portfolio for your certificate for high school leaving. So I just wanted, and that, like I said, sir, that's also part of the cry that even if you have mentorship skills, experience, certification, that you also welcome to the meeting on the 6th. As I'm speaking about meetings, so Mr. Mays, we have on the 29th of April at the Bethesda Moravian Church, that's in Keon. We also have something similar to this. We sit down and we listen to your ideas and your cries. So that's again the 29th of April. Remember the date at Moravian Church in Keon. That's 5:30. And then we have on the May 12th, Bastia Anglican Church Hall. We're looking at having the same sit down in Bastia. So let me explain to the public why Bastia and Keon. Because again, everything is science. 9 of the 15 gangs are from Keon and Bastia.
Repeat that again for me.
9 out of the 15 known gangs and listed gangs within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis are from Bastia and Keon. And so we are going into those two spots to speak about the situation on crime and violence, mainly not. Of course, you're allowed to vent, but the most important thing then, what's the solution? What is your preventative method or prevention idea for the issues that you're facing? So it's not alone to bash, which is important. And I'm not. Let me recheck the bash word. It is for you to vent, obviously, but the most important thing at the end of it is for you to, how can we go about now facing it, knowing what are the issues? Yeah. So that, again, let me reiterate it. Let me repeat the dates. The 29th of April at Moravian Church in Cairn, 5:30. May 6th, Solid Waste for the Summer of Intervention. That's the name of the summer program with the children. And May 12th at Bastia Anglican Church Hall. That one will be speaking about the crime and violence issue and how we could look at it from a holistic standpoint, including the community. All right.
I don't mean to hush about it, but you said 9
of the 15
gangs in St. Kitts, the known 15 gangs
yes.
in St. Kitts.
The listed gangs. Yes.
From Cairn, that's 60%.
Yes.
And the other 40% are from Bastia.
So Bastia and Cairn combined is 9 of the 15.
Oh, okay.
You get me?
Okay. That's where I started some clarification. But that is still mad. Because Little St. Kitts and Nevis, we have gangs. And it's unfortunate, but a former police commissioner, when confronted with this a few years ago, indicated that there are no gangs in St. Kitts and Nevis. And apparently he was not living in St. Kitts and Nevis. He might have been the only one not to have known it. And I am thinking, an alcoholic, you can't convince an alcoholic to get treatment when he isn't convinced he's an alcoholic. So the first step is admitting, hey, I'm an alcoholic, and then you can talk to me. So I'm thinking, had he been in a position, the former police commissioner, back then when he made that statement, to say, yes, we have gangs, maybe this program might have started way back there, instead of starting, and this was 15, 20 years ago, maybe. I can't remember.
It would have been my pleasure to have this program started, whether it's me or someone else, long before, because we probably would have had a lot of our young men still alive today.
720.
All right, so
talk about hands.
So
and,
it's
1.8%.
1.8%.
So
all
if
right,
we continue at this rate, when my great granddaughter come, the boyfriend gonna be there for.
What's going to happen is we have to basically the government of the day would have to remove the retirement age to 80, and it's not a joke. Because if you go to 65, you're still going to keep losing. So nobody, and then even though we have to, I don't know, I mean, I might sound a little funny, but we might have to use our wheelchairs to go to work because we won't be able to walk.
Wow.
Because based on the rate in which we are going, if you calculate the retirement, everything for me is scientific. So I have literally done all that calculation. I don't want to say it in this. You said there's a 2. So when the second one comes, I'll show the calculation. If you keep losing at this rate, how it would affect our social security going forward. And the retirement age based on the research will be 75 thereabout.
I have to speak to my boss about really having this relationship, because clearly that this hour has not been sufficient for this information. It's so much, and I don't believe you've scratched the surface yet. So there has to be around 2, perhaps around 3. Perhaps you could be a staple on the program every week at every some time or whatever. And I don't know, our marketing department would be in touch with your persons to discuss that possibility, because even from the phone lines, it has been lighting up. And the phone has been lighting up with these calls coming in, and we were only able to. Hans, thank you very much for coming. This has been tremendous. I compliment you, your department, and of course your ministry, the Prime Minister's office and the Prime Minister for this initiative. And I do hope this is a long-lasting initiative. It would be nice to have it 10, 15, 20 years ago, but better late than never. So I'll give you a chance to wrap up, sir.
All right. So without let me just go back to the community again. I just want to extend how grateful I am to the public for their assistance in all of the information they would have given. And again, I've never given me any information about who the shooters were. That's not my response. That's not for me to know. The information you have given me is about why you think the possible root causes were, how we could do prevention, come up with prevention program ideas. And so to the public, to the statistician, to the funeral homes, to the hospital, to the parents, to the teachers, name it. Everybody has been very helpful thus far. Churches have invited me to present. So far, it's been a very, the assistance from the public has been very good. If we continue down this route, we're going to continue to reduce the numbers. So I just want to thank you. To the prime ministers in the past, thank you for your effort. But now we're in a position where we can kind of improve on your efforts, because it started a long time. People were trying, but now we think we have the direction. And in wrapping up, you were asking if we're the only country in the Caribbean who's full blown on the public health approach. All right, we're full blown. So they're going to come to us to give us the idea, and they're also going to use us as a. They're wrapping up. They're giving us a chance to be used as a case study. So the number for calling is 667-7257. Again, 667-7257. Thanks again for having me. Thanks for the callers, and thanks to God for Jesus Christ for giving me the opportunity to be able to do this for my nation. All right, and continue to pray for St. Kitts and Nevis, everyone here. Thank you, and God bless you.
Hans, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and we look forward to having you here again in the future. And congratulations on the work you're doing, and best wishes.
All right, thanks. All right.
You're listening to Island Tea here on Winn FM 98.9. We are going to a break and pay some bills and get to our sponsors. Big them up. We will be right back. Stick and stay. Don't go away.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Winn FM.
When power stops, your world should not. For April, the TDC Home and Building Depot's product of the month is the GD Super Multi-Purpose Solar Generator. Instant, silent, and efficient power for your home, office, or any other space. Our 600-watt generator was $2,070, now $1,182. The 1500-watt was $2,772, now $1,965. And our 3000-watt powerhouse was $6,405, now $3,960. Finish your projects, continue your business, enjoy your life. Available at the TDC Home and Building Depots on St. Kitts and Nevis and at shoptdcgroup.com. Your space is your brand. It speaks for you. So what is it saying? From the boardroom to the bedroom, our modern decorative light fixtures offer timeless designs with visual comfort. During April, TDC is making space for new arrivals. They have discounted selected Vision Decorate wall-mounted fixtures ranging from $60 to $115 to as low as $30 to $40. Elevate every corner, transform every moment, enjoy every second. Available at the TDC Home and Building Depots on St. Kitts and Nevis and at shoptdcgroup.com.
Welcome back to Island Tea here on Winn FM 98.9. And we are getting close to winding up time. I remember voices coming after this program. We have the farmers with us. I gave the cat out the bag. I was to let him introduce himself. But maybe you missed it. And we are going to go live and direct and to our guest and say, good morning, sir. How are you? Welcome to Winn FM 98.9 Island Tea.
Good morning. Good morning to all our listeners. And it's Farm Report. It's another Wednesday. And I'm happy to be in the studio this morning. I would like to also apologize for not being here last week. Circumstances were beyond my control. But this morning, I haven't had an update from the marketing unit, so I don't know what's available up there. But I could tell you that our farmers, as we speak, are struggling to get their local carrots into the supermarkets. So I would like all who are listening out there to, when you go to the supermarket, ask for local carrots. And even cabbages, they're having difficulty getting into the supermarket. So when you go to the supermarket, ask for the local so that the supermarket owners will realize that there's a great demand for the local produce. And by asking for local, you are supporting the farming community. You're supporting the farmers. Please don't let the farmers die. The farmers, as is, are fighting an uphill battle, a real task. When it's not monkeys, it's the pigs. When it's not the pigs, it's the hurricanes and the dry weather. When it's not that, it is maybe the administration. So please don't let the farmers die. Support the farming community. As I go there, I would like to encourage the farmers to keep on keeping on. I understand that most of you look at the situation as is today and realize that you're under threat, right? As I look around and I see some videos circulating, and I saw one of a government-run farm. And I will have to speak about that today. When I realized that here's the farmers having difficulty getting into the supermarkets, the government is now saying that they are going to plant what the farmers are planting. So, which means now that the farmers might be totally squeezed out of anything.
So the government is in direct competition with the farmers, you're saying?
That's what I saw the video that is circulating. Because the government now is planting sweet potatoes. I'm a part of a group, the Mansion Group. Is a group of farmers who come together, right? And we plant at any given time in the season more than 10 acres of potato, sweet potato, right? Currently we have in about maybe 5 to 10 acres of carrots, which most of it is not selling, right?
That is sad.
It's a sad reality. Farmers are asked to produce, but when you produce, you're unable to get into the supermarkets. And that's the reality of which farmers have to face, right? So when I see the government now planting sweet potatoes and pumpkin, acres of sweet potatoes and acres of pumpkin, tell me now, what will happen to the farmers who are already producing sweet potatoes and pumpkin as they are struggling? You see, that's the reality of the thing. First half the project was supposed to be some Tabasco pepper project.
How is that coming along though?
But in that very same video that is circulating by the government, mind you, they are saying that they realize that the Tabasco project is not economically feasible. They are saying that now, you know.
But wasn't that a general view sometime before when it was
But that was said by the farmers also. Most people echo that. And the government now is saying that they realize it's not economically feasible. So they, yeah.
We have a caller on the line. Let us go to this caller. Say good morning. Caller, welcome to Winn FM 98.9. And
good morning, Chai.
Good morning.
Please make it brief, sir.
Good morning, Chai.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Jam down.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, Biff, good morning.
Good morning, Jam down. How are you?
Good morning, dear Mr. Farmer.
Good morning.
Over the years, Chai, and Biff. Yeah, over the years, from the great Bradshaw right down to Simmons, right down to Douglas, into Timothy, we used to always customs from the agriculture department. When the farmers them plant, let's say a lot of potato and a lot of carrots, like what you're saying, we put a limited ban on the imported carrots. Why? It don't work so no more. That's right. It don't work like that no more. The customs ain't guiding the ship no more to give the local local farmers the way to make some money?
Or
they just laying the customs towards the lie?
I don't think
Local farmers must got the way.
I don't think that have anything to do with customs per se. Customs, I don't think customs you have to get directive from somebody else.
Boy, I come from Federal Maple and Federal Palm. That's where I used to go on in Kukiwano and the whole custom man up Newtown, South Faro. The agriculture department. That's how it normally used to be all the years in this country. But we break from, we mash up, We really, really mash up.
30 seconds, please,
we
Father.
got to change this thing here. This thing ain't going to work like this. This thing is not going to work like this. Something wrong. Terry Adams was the man in charge of that. Once he sends the farmers growing a lot of pepper and pepper flooding the Finkage market, they put a soft ban on wherever coming in, wherever pepper's coming in, wherever carrots coming in.
Rapper, please call
You know,
up.
we mess up. Me hear crazy man saying he's going to get Guyana to bring food here to sell in Finkage. Every time Guyana food come down here, that's spoiled.
Caller, thank you.
Something wrong with these young boys. I want them to walk away from the job, Walk away from the job because this is real embarrassment for Latai,
Caller, rapper, please, caller. Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks for that call. And as the caller rightly said, that at one point in time, when there's a surplus, there's a restriction on the inputs. But I see at this present moment hundreds of pounds of carrots landing in St. Kitts right as we speak. And the farmers have hundreds of pounds of carrots in the field and able to harvest them because they don't have no way to sell them.
So you're saying you would like to see the government put a system in place when you have a surplus of certain local crops, the import is less.
I would like to see them implement it. I think there's a system in place.
Oh, so it's just to implement the system. It's already there.
Because I think you to bring in anything, I think you'll have to input license.
A license, yes.
Yes, so I think the system is in place. I think you just need to implement.
So for clarity and avoidance of doubt, you're saying right now you have a lot of carrots around, local carrots. You can't get them into the supermarket because a lot of local carrots, a lot of foreign carrots.
And the thing is that as the place get hotter, the carrots will spoil faster in the ground. So farmers now is looking at losses.
And could you quantify that? You mentioned 10 acres of carrots. About if all 10 acres were to be lost, what value would be lost? Could you give an estimation?
At this point in time, I'm unable to do so. But I know it will be thousands of dollars.
Tremendous. But
yeah.
Could you get a specific figure for us for the next program? So you could say, assuming, so we could have an idea. 10 acres of carrots, 10 acres is...
That is only at one group,
One group?
Just one group.
Oh, so there are other groups?
There are other farmers out there who have carrots who are unable to get them. Said that just one group.
That is rough. It's really, really
rough.
Sad.
That's one group. So there are other farmers who plant the 1 acre, the quarter acre, and so.
So what recommendation would you make?
What I will say to the ministry is to get the act, get it in order. Because if they have their field guys out there, extension officers out there, they will know what's in the field. And they know what the law said. So if they work together...
We have a caller, but caller, can you please keep it to 30 seconds? We have to wrap up right now.
Okay, will do. Good morning to all. I just want to call out some persons, right? First and foremost, I want to call out the Chamber of Industry and Commerce because I don't understand why they're standing by and watching the government destroy an entire sector. Because this state-run farm initiative does nothing for the sector. The government has no business producing things that the average farmer is also producing. Also, I want to call out the media because yesterday I looked at the press conference and there were two reporters there, and one of them kind of pushed the question about imports and whatnot, and the minister gave a terrible answer, and there was no pushback. And so I need the media to also do their job and get the word out there that these kind of initiatives are detrimental to farmers. Go and talk to the farmers. Go and talk to them and hear the story, because most of them are afraid to come forward and talk because of political ramifications.
15 seconds, please, caller.
What's that?
15 seconds, please.
Okay, that's the nature we're living in, thinking that most farmers are afraid to come forward because of political ramifications. And so we appreciate shows like this. And I need the chamber to talk about this whole thing. I remember TDC had to...
Please wrap up, caller. You have to wrap up. You have to wrap up, sir, because we need to give Troy 30 seconds to wrap up as well. Please.
Yes, I understand. But next time we should start a little on time. But all right, cool, no problem.
Thank you, caller.
I was the one who get here late, so...
And you'll have to wrap up, of course. Troy.
Yes, but as the caller rightly said, right, the government farm will directly compete with the farmers. They have no business in that. Yes, I'm wrapping up. That's part of the wrap. We have no business in that. I can't do my phone. I got 6 minutes left. So they have no business into the government in the farming thing. We talk about the Tabasco. And I was informed, okay, no problem. I was informed that from the first meeting, the government they know that the Tabasco thing was not feasible. They know from the first meeting. And they come here and sell it to the farmers, sell it to the public. That is the saving grace for agriculture. And then what they turn around and do is to stab the farmers in the back and undermining the farmers. Well, the farmers are out there in the Kayan area, looking for lands, being pushed off the lands, and the government now have 100 plus acre occupied to farm, while farmers are crying out and they want land to farm. They don't want no competition from the... I'm wrapping up. Yes, they don't need any competition from the government. What they need is a partnership from the government. So in wrapping, I say thanks to Winn FM again for having me here, and I'm going to try to be all here next time so I could get my full quota.
We understand that, and we thank you for coming, Troy. And it's really rough, but we have to get into our next program, Voices. We thank you for being here. And best wishes to the farming industry, and irrespective of the challenges, keep working hard. You have been listening to Island Tea here on Winn FM 98.9. We're now preparing for the next program, Voices. Stick and stay. Don't go away.
Found the sound 98.9. Winn FM.
For you. So what is it saying?